Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Wednesday, and I can't tell you how happy I am to be in the shop once again. I just absolutely love getting down here. I have a couple things to do today and talk about. The first thing I have to do is to give you an update on the mice, okay? And for those of you that might be tuning in, I got to give you, for the first time, I have to give you a quick recap of what happened. Now, just in last fall, about October, November, my cat caught a little mouse. I mean, about the size of my thumb. It was the smallest mouse I ever saw. I felt bad for it. I brought it downstairs. I have a fish tank here that's set up for rodents or whatever. And so I put him in there, and he was fine for a couple weeks. And unfortunately, I thought he was in some kind of shock or something. He wasn't coming out of his thing, but he was okay physically. So I said, maybe he needs a buddy. So I went to Petco, bought him a buddy. Came home, and obviously they got along great. The mouse was fine. Everybody was good. Turns out the mouse I got was a female, and he was a male. So they had little mice. They had 3 litters in 3 months. I wound up with 34 babies plus the 2 original ones. So I had 36 mice, and it was kind of an ongoing joke around here about the mice are breeding like crazy. Anyway, I separated them, and I kept them, I said, until spring. At springtime, I was going to let them go. That was yesterday. Yesterday, I said, where would I want to go if I was a mouse? So I know this beautiful area up in Connecticut. Beautiful area. It looks like you're out west. It's just the scenery so beautiful, and near it is a beaver dam. And anybody that knows a beaver dam, it's surrounded with life and fresh water and plants. So I said, that's a perfect place. If I was a mouse, that's where I want to go. So I went up yesterday. I released 35 mice into the wild, and they took off like rockets as soon as. But now I know what you're thinking. You're saying, wait, didn't you say you had 36? Well, yeah, there's kind of a backstory to that. The female that I bought from Petco that started this whole thing and had all the babies, the mother of them all, affectionately named Rosie by my girlfriend. Well, we had this conversation, my girlfriend and I. She's like, you can't let that mouse go. It's not a wild mouse. I said, look, they have instincts. It'll take to the wild like a duck takes to water. And she's like, please don't let him. It'll be killed. Especially she's light skinned, light colored, like a blonde mouse. So it turns out, I made a deal with her. I said, look, I'll let them. If the mouse doesn't go anywhere, we'll take it back. But if it takes off into the wild, I'll let it go free. Sure enough, I dumped all the mice, and the only one standing there looking at me was Rosie. So we had to take Rosie back. But I dumped all the rest of the mice there. They were happy as can be, running around. They were gone in a split second. It's like you couldn't see them again. They were under leaves. They knew just how to hide. So I'm confident that they'll do well up there. And that's the update of what happened with the 35 mice. And Rosie is back, living in Connecticut now in a cage with Fernando, a cat, as a buddy. So everything, I'll give you an update on that later on. But that's what happened, and it worked out really well. So I'm glad. I'll tell you the truth, I was a little bit emotional. I said, I hope these guys make it. They were my friends for the whole winter. Such happy little creatures, and it was always nice to see them down here. But now it's barren down here again. So until next maybe fall, right? So anyway, we got a few things to do today, and the first thing is I want to show you a very rare and unusual axe that I'm sure you haven't seen before. Okay, next up for our next project, I think I have an axe that many of you have never seen before. This is a specialty axe, kind of rare, and it looks like a normal hand axe until flip it over like this. Let me show you what this is. This cool little axe is actually a doorstop, and you can see how it works. It's got this hooked in here, and you can see it's the George Washington doorstop, and it was by the Newton Manufacturing Company out of Newton, Iowa, and this is a doorstop. So what you do is when the door is open, you don't want it to close or something, you take this like this, and this gets put in like this, okay? So it looks as if the axe is embedded into the floor here. So it's like that, and it looks like somebody, you know, put the axe. It's pretty cool. The thing is, it needs just a little bit of work. And you know what bothers me? I know this is insane. See, the handle's loose because when they put this handle on, they don't put it on like a regular axe because it's an aluminum head. I don't know. So what they do is they just put a nail in it. See, there's just a nail holding this on, but it bothers me that it's loose because I can't stand any heads of axes or hammers or anything loose. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna put a wedge in it. We're gonna clean up. Somebody was using this as a hammer, and again, it's aluminum, so that's not a good idea. So let's see what we can do to clean it up. Okay, we'll use Great Grandpa's Croy to pull out that. It's only a small nail, okay, and it's loose. Yeah, so this pulls right out. You could see here. So they must have cast this after. It's again, it's aluminum. Now you can see here they used the wedge. There is a wedge in there. So, but I can't stand the loose. And it looks like there's a dowel. See that? That's not metal, right? That's wood. So we're going to pluck this out, see if I can put a thicker wedge. I just want this to be solid. Whenever you got to pull these wedges out, it's always a good idea. Again, these dental picks or dental tools, you cannot beat them. They're always good for getting in, to start, and to get under both sides, just to start pulling that up. And you can see that one split. That wedge split out. Not from me. That was always split. And we'll use a bigger awl and just press it up like this. Can you see that? There we go. There we go. So now we'll just get a new wedge, and that is a wooden or whatever, but that'll be nice. We'll just put a new wedge in to make it a bind up. Now this is where you get into the whole can of worms, because I figured, well, now that I got it off, maybe I could scrape this handle down, because I'm not crazy about this color. I do like a darker handle, so let me scrape this off and maybe give it a it's going to be in your house, right? It's not going to be used outside. Let's do it upright. Okay, got about an hour into this. Now, with the right type of sanding and polishing, you could get this to look like steel, and that's what we wanted to do. Make this look like steel, not like aluminum, and I think we accomplished that. And we took down this to bare wood because we're going to stain it, and you have to take everything off. So after scraping, we sanded. Now we're going to, first we're going to put it together before we stain it, because it's a perfect time to use maybe a decorative wedge. I got all different color wedges, all different types of wood, black locust, this is sycamore. And what you want to do is, when you're putting this in, you want to make sure that here, you see here, when we're putting this in, now normally I would drill a hole at the bottom of to stop any splitting that would happen, but this isn't this is just for a show, obviously. It's not going to be used. But now we're going to obviously measure the width of it and then cut off a piece. Now I know this is just for a show, but I had to put the hole in there. It's always good practice. It stops it from splitting. So now we cut our wedge to width. Now we're going to cut it to length. We'll place it in here, and you see how far it's going to go, and we'll just cut it about. Now the key with hanging any handle is you always tap from the bottom. I use a soft blow hammer. Always tap on the bottom here, and you see how much we drove that above normally where it was. What you're going to have is you're going to have a little curl on the bottom there. You see that? That's what you want to see. You don't want to see any gaps, and you want to see a little bit of wood curling up, and we'll cut that off with a utility knife later on. But once we have that exposed and we have it driven in, now that's tight. That is really tight on there. Now we'll put the wedge in with some glue. Okay, it's been 2 days now. You see the glue is completely dry with that wedge. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it to the scroll saw, and we're just going to cut off and get this down flush with the top of the axe head. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what this doorstop axe looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Let's take a look at what we did here. Did a beautiful job on the handle, you know. Just took all that old finish off. I covered it 2 coats of shellac, and then buffed it down with steel wool, and then put a coat of butcher's wax on there. So that's a beautiful looking axe handle now, and you can see all the grain and everything, so it's not on there overly thick. Polished out the head so it looks like steel. Now that does look like steel, right? And you can see the back, what we did here with the, I got some linseed oil on there now. That's just sucking in. That's the first coat. And look how nice that wedge is in there. And it is tight as can be. It's just a nice, and let me show you what this looks like against the door. Now this is how it would look if you needed it as a door wedge. You know, you would take this wedge, stick it under here, and that would keep the door open. And it would look like the axe was sitting into the hardwood or whatever you had. It's a cool little thing, especially for us people that love tools, right? Okay, you remember last week we had the giveaway for the Saddam Hussein 25 dinar note. I just came off the computer where I went on the comment generator to find out the winner, and it came up for Gator Creates. Gator Creates. Congratulations, Gator. Do me a favor, drop me an email. I'll have my email address here, and I also have it in the link. So drop me an email and I will get that right out to you. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, and appreciate everybody for leaving a comment. We had a great time, and we'll do it again real soon. Okay, next up, you remember a couple weeks ago, my buddy Hook from Hook's Outdoors, great guy. Hook sent me a couple of these blades, and he's a longtime scouter, and he says he uses these blades and he makes his own handle for them. And I was intrigued by this blade. I was looking at this blade and saying, that's an interesting blade. Got nice curve to it, nice cut. You know, see that? And I said, this will be interesting. Now, I looked up to see about the handle. And sure enough, on eBay, I found a handle. Okay, this is the handle that these go on. And what you do is you take it like this here. There's a little keyway here that holds on. This pulls down, and then this gets pushed under here and locks the blade onto the handle like that. Okay, so I said that's an interesting. So I got this, and then I got a smaller one, which was like similar in style and the same thing. You would push this here, and you can see how you can change the blades, how quickly. So let me clean these up and show you how these work. Very interesting. Again, they were made by ALLWAY. It's called the ALLWAY Master, and it has a patent to unbreakable handle. Unbreakable, you know. I don't know about that, but it's interesting because it says Ultra Manufacturing Company, New York City, made in USA. So let's clean these up. And you got to be very careful because it's some kind of cast, so you got to be careful. I'm going to use the soft wire brush. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what these ALLWAY saw handles look like before we started. And we're calling this project done. This was just a quick cleanup. Came out real nice. We put a little red accent in the handle like they probably would have had or was designed for. And you can see here, this is a zinc type alloy. And it says unbreakable, but, you know, that's kind of a challenge to us, right? And when you're putting this on the wire brush, you do have to address the brush pretty hard to get under that tarnish or oxidation that the zinc does have. And you can see here it says ALLWAY Master. And again, on the other side, you can see Ultra Manufacturing Company, New York City. What's interesting about these, it has that pistol grip here, which is very comfortable. It is a very comfortable handle. But this can go on the left side, the right side, or the top facing either way. And what's interesting is if you want to put it, let's say, on, what you do is you put it in the keyway, rotate it down, and then this little part has to just bend down a little bit to lock under, and then it'll clip when you press like that, and then it's clipped in, and now there's your blade in the handle. So nice little design. You know, it's funny, I don't remember having one of these in the shop. But now I got two. So again, I want to thank Hook for sending the blade, which started this whole thing off. Okay, so in closing, we had a couple interesting projects today. Projects that I'm sure you probably haven't seen or haven't seen much of. They're pretty unusual items. Anyway, I want to thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.